Hi, welcome to our fourth and final episode of the Horizon HowTo series. Today Sander is with me again. In the last couple of episodes we installed a Horizon connection server. We created an image, published a desktop pool and application, and configured a dynamic environment manager. This time it's time for F-Volumes, the application virtualization solution by VMware. Let's go to the lightboard to talk a little bit more about it. So today we're going to talk about applications. And applications we are going to manage with F-Volumes. F-Volumes is an application virtualization solution by VMware, which uses virtual disks to store the application. These disks are also VMDK files and are stored on the data store. These disks are read-only to the user, so when the application is packaged on a packaging machine, the disk is set to write mode. When you install the application, all files and settings are captured, and when you finalize the application, it will be locked and read-only for the user. And on top of it, we are going to use a writable volume. This is also a VMDK file, but like the word says, it's writable to the user. And we are going to store things like the OST file, the search index, and even user-installed applications on it. All settings and files from these VMDKs are merged with the local operating system and will result in one C drive. Now let's go to Sander and he will show us how to install the F-Volumes manager.
All right, great stuff. So we've already created a machine that we'll be using as our App Volumes Manager. That's the AV M01, which I have here. And I already have the App Volumes installer here. One thing of note is that we have to install it with elevated permissions. So what we're going to do is open a command prompt, run it as an administrator. Oddly, this is the only installer that requires that. And I'll be using Shift, right-click on the setup to copy the path, and then I should be able to paste this in here, all neat. Right, let me clean this up for a bit. Okay, let's go. So the installation, again, pretty straightforward, except the user agreement. And then we get a choice. Do we want to install an agent? So that's what we're going to be doing in the image, yes. Which we need to update. We're going to install the App Volumes Manager. That's what we're doing here. And recently we added the option to install App Volumes Tools, which is great because that allows you to do all of the App Volumes stuff that you're used to, but then do it through the command line. So you can update an image or package a new application all through command line tools, and then also automate that as well.
Yeah, really, so really cool.
That's a really cool new addition. We'll be installing the full manager, obviously. So we'll be waiting for that to complete. And that wasn't too bad, so here we go. And we say next. All right, so we'll be needing a database. We're not installing a local one, we're connecting to the SQL server that we already have. On the SQL server, we've already we already created a database. And that database name is HowTo
App Volumes
App Volumes, and please remember the capitalization. I do not want certificate authentication because we don't have any. We want the default ports for this, and then we'll be installing the manager. That's actually the only option that we have here, and it'll be installing. Right, now the installation has been completed. We can opt to show the logs, but we're fairly certain that we've done this all right.
True.
Okay, so we'll launch the App Volumes Manager. Has its own nice little icon, but it opens the web interface, just as it does with Horizon. Obviously, our connection isn't secure, but we'll continue to the local host anyway. And here we'll see the initial start walkthrough for App Volumes. So let's get started. First, we need a license. Very, very, very important.
You can use an evaluation mode, but we have a license, so just go and edit.
We do, so we'll edit that. And licenses in app volumes are based on key files, and we have one in our installer, so I'll go to the install folder, and here's my .key file, and I'll be uploading that. And now we are license user for 5,000 users. So then we'll be registering the Active Directory domain, very important obviously. So we'll be adding euc.itq.lab, and we'll be entering the username and password, and for that we have a service account, which is sa_app volumes with a password, which I hopefully haven't butchered.
Yeah, in this case you can check the disable certificate validation checkmark. Checkbox.
That's always good. All right, so there's no certificate validation. That is fine. I'm very comfortable with that. Okay, so now that we have our domain and our account in place, we can select some admin roles. So we have a group named App Volume Administrators or App Volume Admins.
Yep.
So we'll add these to our administrator groups.
Yeah, and just like we showed with Horizon, you can create role-based access to the App Volumes Manager console for example, the help desk. If you want the help desk to detach or reset writable volumes for users, you can do that.
Yeah. All right. So it's the one with a dash.
Yep.
App Volumes Admins, and I will assign them the administrator roles. There we go. And now that we're done with that, we will be connecting to vCenter, obviously, because it's still orchestrating everything that we do. So that is vcsa01.ibuc.itq.lab, and for that we'll also be using the same app volumes.
Yeah, okay. You can add EUC as a domain name for
yes, thanks. That's EUC / and the password. There we go. Some extra options. If we are specifying for cloud deployments, we'll be skipping all of these, so we'll just save the installation. Do we accept the untrusted certificate for now? All right. So then we'll be setting up the storage. Storage is
will be our vCenter data store.
Yeah, will be our default vCenter data store. So we'll be selecting those. There we go. And yeah.
Let's do it immediately.
Let's do it immediately. Yeah. What's the point in waiting? But it is a good feature. It does that for other things as well. That it can do the background tasks, so then you can just always continue working on your day, and then you can see everything that's there. Okay, so last part is uploading templates. So we're going to use a basic template that's already there. That's a template for Workstation. It's, basically, it's an empty 20 gigabyte hard disk, thin provisioned.
Yep.
And we'll be using that as the basis for our application package. Yep. So we'll be uploading that, and that will also happen in the background. And then there's still some settings that we can verify, and we'll save. And that, yes, it's always important to join the customer improvement program, but we're not gonna. And with that, we should have configured app volumes, and we're ready to start packaging an application.
Yeah, and as I said earlier in the previous video, this is the moment where your Windows 10 device will be used to package for packaging. So let's switch over to my screen, and I'll show you how to prepare the package machine so we can publish an application later on.
Exciting times.
So I've already logged on to my Windows 10 virtual machine. This is just a basic installation without any changes. The only thing I changed was the background for me, so for me it's visible on what machine I'm working. I've also copied the app volumes agent from the ISO file and placed it on the C drive, which we will also start from the command prompt. Let me close this one. So, to install the agent, it's also pretty straightforward. We just
basically we'll be choosing the other option that we didn't choose, right?
Right. We select license agreement, and the only thing we need to do now is add the name of the server manager of the app volumes manager,
right?
Which is the avm01.esc.itq.lab. We left the ports default and we checked disable certificate validation check mark. So we just select install and we wait.
And again, to stress the point from the earlier videos, there's an order when you're installing agents, because now we have all of our agents in the
this is the last one and the last part. So this is the installation of the agent on the package machine. You also need to install the agent on the image. We have already done it. We already have updated our desktop pool, so that when we are finished creating a package, we can immediately publish the application. So we select finish and we want to reboot the computer. Meanwhile, we go back to the app volumes manager.
Sure thing, and also it's advisable to have the packaging machine to resemble as closely as you can your main image, right?
Right, yep. So now it's time to create an application. And in the past, with App Volumes 2, we had a VMDK file and we had an app stack, as we called it, and we installed multiple applications onto the app stack. App Volumes 4 has changed, so we basically install one application per VMDK file this way. So what we do first is we create an application, and the application is just sort of directory for that application, and where we can make packages in the underlying layer. So first of all, we're going to create an application called 7-zip.
Fan favorite.
Fan favorite, definitely. So when we create the application, we select OK. And when it's done, we'll get into the screen to create the package. And the package is the VMDK file on which we are going to install the bits, which will be named as programs in the App Volumes Manager. So here we will select, we'll give it a name, and let's call it a 7-zip underscore 1900 for the version. And we select the default template, which you uploaded finishing the installation of the manager.
Yeah, and what's also cool is the stage, where you can select whether or not this is a new package, or it's a package that's being tested, or it's a package that's being retired, so that it can be removed. It's basically just a tag to add some clarity to what the status of your
It's purely administrative. If I put it on retired or published, it does not do anything towards the user. It's pure administrative for the administrator. So let's create the package. Click on create.
And what's important to note is that we can have multiple applications within the same, or multiple packages within the same application.
Just the packages. The package stands for the version, and the application is the application itself, right? Yeah. So as you can see, we have one application with one package. So when we click on it, we have the application, the package we created. And here you have a couple of options. Because this is just a copy of the template, we still need to package the application, which we will do on the app volumes packaging machine. So this one should be rebooted already. Let's log on. So I've gone ahead and I've already downloaded the 7-zip installation to my C drive. So what we do now is we need to attach the VMDK file to the packaging machine so it can capture the bits and bytes of the installation. We are already at the package, so we select the package button, and here you will enter the name of the packaging machine, which is the AVP01. So we type in AVP01, we find our packaging machine, we select the machine and create package. We click the Start Packaging button, and what this does is the manager will send a signal to vCenter. vCenter will attach the VMDK file to the virtual machine, and when we go to the packaging machine, you will have a window here that says you're in provisioning mode. What this means is that the computer is now in sort of read-write mode. Everything that happens on this PC will get registered and saved onto the VMDK file, which we are going to fill. So let's just install 7-zip very quickly. This is really next, it's not even next finish, it's just install.
Install.
And we'll click close. So we now have installed 7-zip. 7-zip file manager, we can open the application. And if you're installing another application which requires a reboot, you can just select start and reboot. And when you come back, the app volumes manager will automatically pick it up again and set the machine into packaging mode. So that's really cool. You can reboot. Once you're done, you can click OK, and you will get another message. You click yes, and here you can add some nodes. So for the packaging nodes, we'll just leave this default and finalize the setup. What will happen now is the machine will be restarted. The VMDK file will be set to read-only mode and will be placed on the data store to be attached for users on their VDI environment.
Yeah, and you always have to wait for the full reboot and the new logon before we can detach it, right?
After the reboot, we log on and we will see a message that the package process has been completed, and then it's finalized.
Yeah, the way I always understood that is that there can always be things like a first run or something that happens after some changes that come after a reboot, the package wants to include those changes as well. You can do that inside the package, but you could also use VMware Dynamic Environment Manager for that, to use the app profiler and create predefined settings for your application. Good stuff.
So the machine has been booted. We just log back on. As you can see now, at the right bottom, packaging successful, which means that the process has been completed. You can now revert the machine back to its original state, so you can package an application again.
Which means that we should have made a snapshot before we started.
We did.
Which you will definitely do when you're doing this yourself.
So
one other thing, what I also love is the fact how guided this all is. So if you look at the status, it mentions the package is unpackaged, so we need to package it, go to this option, and now the thing is attached, go to the machine, and it's a whole guided experience. I really like that.
Right, yes.
But now our package is here.
Our package is here. You can see we have several options, but first of all we're going back to the application button, or tab, and we're going to assign this application to a group. I've not created a group, so let's just add it to domain users for demo purposes. And here you have the option for an assignment type, which is a marker. The marker we will set after this. You can choose this default, but if you have multiple packages in one application, you can specify some users to get a specific version of a package.
For testing, that would be a great example.
Yeah,
so if you have a certain new version that you want to try out on a couple of users, you'll assign the package to them with the newest version, and the rest leave it on the marker. And once it's approved, then that becomes the marker. That becomes the default application when you assign it.
Yeah. So we will select assign. And what we'll now do is we will go to the package. We open up our 7-zip package and select set current. This is the marker for the current version of the package. So everyone who logs in at the moment will get the current marker, which is this version. If we would create another version, for example, version 2000, and we set the marker to that to the version 2000, the users will get that version instead of the 1900.
Yeah.
So as I said earlier, we've already updated our image with the App Volumes agent. So let's take a look on our VDI environment and open up the application there.
Yeah. Let's see if it works. All our hard work pays off. So we just go to the main URL for our Horizon environment, use the Horizon HTML access. And there we should have our pool.
So what happens now is you see the SV service just for a short moment. The App Volumes Manager will check the domain group, domain users. If my account is member of that group, it will send a signal to the vCenter. vCenter will attach the read-only VMDK file to the machine, and the VMDK file will be merged together with the local C drive to act as if it's locally installed.
Yeah. Yeah, and basically, since we're making every application now a separate VMDK file, this machine gets attached with 7 disks, right? And it all blends into one.
Yeah, definitely. So let's open up the Start menu. And there we have 7-zip.
Yeah. Along with all of the right-click integrations, along with all of the settings that might apply.
Yeah. So this leaves us with the last part of this entire series, which will be the writable volume. Let's log off our session here, sign out, and go back to the App Volumes Manager, because we need to create a writable volume for our user. And I'm going to select create, and you can choose here to create to enter a username. So you can create a single writable volume for a user, but you can also enter a domain group, and the manager will automatically create a writable volume for every user in that group. In this case, I'm just going to select my own username and select create. Sorry.
Yeah, this is also based on the templates, right?
Yeah, we need to choose a template here. So we have 3 templates, which is a profile only. This one will save the profile only to the writable volume, everything that happens. There's another one, which is the user installed application only, which saves everything that's been done from the C drive, but excludes the user profile. And you have best of both worlds, the user profile plus user installed applications, which we are going to use because we want to be able to install an application by ourselves, and it will be saved on the writable volume. And we have Office, and we enabled the search service during the optimization. So the search index, the Office Outlook OST file, will be saved on the writable volume together with the installation from our software repository, which we defined in Dynamic Environment Manager. So let's select this template, and now click create.
Yeah, this really is the missing link in making a persistent feeling experience on a non-persistent machine.
Right, right. So we wait for the writable volume to be created. As you can see, It's created, so let's log back on to our VDI environment. What will happen now is that the App Volumes Manager will not only attach our 7-zip package, but also our writable volume to the machine. And as said before, the 7-zip disk is read-only, but the user writable volume is in read-write mode because it needs to save files onto the to the disk.
And it will automatically save the OST files and caching files, right, for your search index?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, great stuff.
So we are logged on to our VDI machine. Let's open up the Explorer. In the previous video, we created a software repository with privileged elevation rights, so we are able to install an application from that location. We now have a writable volume, which would save that application onto that disk. And we also configured a nice file share or a drive mapping for that file share, and we placed the Notepad++, also a fan favorite application. So let's start the application from this location, and you will see that the setup is able to be started, and we can just install the application onto the machine.
And it's important to stress that this user is a regular user, and we're using the elevated privileges in order to give him temporary admin rights to install from this location, but not from anywhere else.
Yes, correct. So Notepad has been installed. Easy peasy. Let's reboot the machine and see if Notepad is still there.
We'll sign out, and as we have floating pools, the entire machine will be destroyed now.
The machine will be destroyed, so in a normal situation, Notepad++ would be gone because it's installed on the local C drive. But because we had this writable volume attached to our machine, those bits and bytes were saved onto that writable volume and will be available again when I log in.
Yeah. The best part is you didn't even have to configure all that much for that. It's just you assign the profile of you assigned the writable volume, you assigned its role that you were allowed to install apps, and the rest just happens by itself as if it's magic. It's great.
And this works like a bucket. So if something breaks here, you just delete the writable volume, create it again, and the user.
Yeah, but that would mean that you would lose all of your changes in the writable volume.
Yeah, there is a backup function for this.
Okay. So
which you can set in the manager. Let's open up our start menu to search for Notepad++.
Moment of truth.
As you can see,
it's still there.
The application is still there.
That is
and is able to start. So this concludes our series about how to get started with VMware Horizon.
We covered a lot of ground. We did the connection servers.
Right.
We created a profile. We created a golden image. We showed you how to optimize that. We showed you how to roll out your pools, publish desktops, published applications, did dynamic environment manager settings for the user environment, for the computer environment, and now with app volumes, where we created app packages and created the writable volume for user installed apps.
Yeah. So thank you all for watching. Thank you, Sander.
Yeah, you're welcome. This was a lot of fun. We should do this again.
Yeah, let's do it soon. So if you have any questions regarding Horizon, App Volumes, Dynamic Environment Manager, feel free to contact us at ITQ. And thank you for watching.